The following program is a presentation of the Ohio School Boards Association.
Welcome to the Leading the Way podcast, where we bring you the voices shaping public education across Ohio. A big shout out to our sponsor, Lincoln Learning Solutions. They offer accredited K-12 digital curriculum and support schools with flexible content and expert training for educators in all learning environments. Artificial intelligence is already part of daily life in our schools, from personalized learning tools to how students search, write, and create. So how can districts make sure AI is used safely and effectively? Joining me to talk about all of it is Kathryn Cerminara, Senior Manager of Sales for Lincoln Learning Solutions, which proudly sponsors this podcast. Kathryn, thanks for joining us.
It's great to be here, Scott.
We know that students are already surrounded by AI, from TikTok recommendations to Siri. Why is it so important that schools have a proactive role in teaching students how to use AI responsibly?
Yeah, absolutely. So students are already working and interacting with artificial intelligence every day. So social media algorithms, digital assets, their search engines. But what they don't always understand is how those systems work and how those systems make the decisions. What they don't understand what data they're using, or how bias can creep in, and how their own digital footprint really can shape the results that they see. So that is why it's critical for Ohio schools to take that proactive role. Ohio is a leader in that, already creating those policies that are in place for schools to incorporate an AI policy. So we want students to be informed, ethical digital citizens. So they need to understand how AI works and how to use it responsibly. So I think waiting until the workforce or maybe even higher education is going to be too late. We need to prepare them now.
You mentioned Ohio being at the forefront. They've been one of the first states to require K-12 AI policies. What makes that approach significant for schools and families?
Well, I think it makes it significant because it really opens the door to say that, this is something we need to, I don't want to use the word embrace, but we need to know that it's there and we need to understand. So it kind of gives parents and families that sense that our districts are making responsible decisions to keep our students safe with these new technologies as they come through. Also, it helps really shape how educators can use that in the classroom, use AI in the classroom in a safe way.
Yeah, I'm using AI. You're using AI.
Yeah.
There has been a lot of debate about where it belongs in schools. And from your perspective, where does it exactly fit in the classroom?
So I think with this one is, AI definitely does not replace what's happening in the classroom. It enhances. I was a classroom teacher, and so I know the magic that happens with those one-on-one interactions. And all of that, I want to just make sure I always stress that it's only enhancing what's happening and not replacing. The best implementations I've is using AI in the classroom as a supportive partner. So whether that's with differentiating their instruction, or when we incorporate AI to do that automatic feedback. Sometimes, students need that automatic feedback to keep them going and motivated. And the teacher can't do that every single time they answer a question. So I think that's helpful. I also think for our teachers, it assists them in some of those like day-to-day tasks that they could better be used by connecting with students. So some of those administrative tasks can be sent to AI for that. So it could be a time saver as well.
Yeah. Lincoln Learning has its own AI tool, right? It's Lincoln AI?
Yes, Lincoln AI Learning Assistant.
Yeah.
So the Lincoln AI Learning Assistant is a little learning assistant that is tagged into our curriculum. So it's on our learning objects. So as students go through our digital courses, it's embedded directly in our learning objects. It's a learning assistant and just in that kind of supportive role. So it's trained on Lincoln content. So we're using more of, not that open AI experience, but more has guardrails. So it is trained on our content. So students can really ask questions about what they're what they're experiencing in a lesson, and then our learning assistant will guide that student through. I think, we partnered with some really dynamic partners, AWS and Creatium being two of our strong partners, and they really put that security and those guardrails around those questions so that it can support students learning the content that they are right there. So more not that open, more that kind of closed garden.
Yeah, sure. You mentioned earlier that the workforce is quickly changing, and AI is part of it. I'm using it. You're using it. How is this shift influencing what students are learning in the classroom?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that it's touching everything. It's touching, our manufacturing. It's in our logistics. It's our education. So I think that we really do need to train our students on how to use it appropriately, integrate those concepts into our K-12 schools, and prepare our students for that ever-changing job market. Additionally, I'm coming at this conversation too as an educator, but also as a parent of 3 teenagers who are approaching the college age level. And it's really, it's our dinner room conversation right now of what jobs are going to maybe be replaced or enhanced by using AI. So I think, for our parents listening and our educators listening out there, I think it's important that we stay on top of how AI is changing a variety of different industries, and it's a challenge to be a parent and educator in this day and age, because we need to continue to stay on top of those things.
I don't know. One example might be coding. How much has that changed in terms of a skill set or taking it? Used to be, that was a high paying. Now that's all changing with AI.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think some of those students who went in 4 years ago are, experiencing something different right now. And it shows how quickly things can change. But I think if we're nimble and we're, connected to those changes, we can really, move with the way the technology is going.
So, as you know, school board members and other education leaders is our primary audience. They're the ones who are watching and listening. What's a good first step for them if they want to start exploring AI in their district? I know most probably are, but some may not.
Yes. I mean, I think first you need to start with purpose and not a product. I think you need to start with the purpose. What goals are you trying to accomplish when implementing this into your district? Understand why your district wants to use AI. Is it to prepare students for future careers? Is it to maybe enhance creativity in different ways? And then from there, I think you really need to kind of, again, work in small groups to explore some things that align with your goals. You need to engage your teachers early, because this is going to be the group that's going to carry and move this forward with your students. They're going to bring it to life. So anything that you bring into your district, the teachers are going to bring it to life. And also, don't be afraid to learn alongside your students and your faculty, because as we just said, it's ever evolving. And we could be an expert today, but not an expert tomorrow as things change. So I think, start with your purpose first, and then learn alongside those who you're working with.
And finally, then, how can school leaders keep these conversations open, among the teachers, the parents, the students, about how AI should be used?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the transparency is going to be big here, and communication with your stakeholders is essential. So I think you need to involve those teachers, like the ones who are going to make this come into fruition. Involve involve teachers in the conversation, as well as students. I have got to tell you, I learned so much from my 3 teenagers at home on different ways that we can apply AI, how we can use it to our benefit. So I think, encourage students to also be a part of that conversation as well. Ohio definitely has that strong leadership and community engagement. So I think that, including all of those stakeholders to shape the decisions is important.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing just how quickly this has moved. I mean, I think about, I used to use a rotary phone. Now I use a cell phone, my smartphone. I can't be without my smartphone. And I'm getting to a point now where I kind of need AI.
Right. Absolutely.
Before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice that you'd leave with Ohio school leaders on
Yes.
AI?
I definitely think, and I think we've talked about this in multiple times, that keeping the focus on the people and not the technology, that purpose, always remembering what that purpose is when you are bringing in these new tools. These new tools are going to be fantastic when they are used appropriately. Will never replace our human to human connection, but we can enhance some of those learning experiences that we do have. So let's keep the focus on the people, and that would be my closing remarks there.
Kathryn, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast. And thank you to Lincoln Learning Solution for making this podcast possible. Really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and hit the subscribe button. We'll see you on the next episode.